That's madam to you. Hi, everyone. I have a mic in a sec. Actually, I'm gonna have two mics. I'm gonna start with the live mic, and then I'll go to the electronic mic. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. Okay, will the real live mic come up for a moment and offer a story? This is our friend Mike Petrow from the Center for Action and Contemplation, and my dear friend. He told me a story this morning that I wanted him to share with y'all.
Thanks, Mirabai. Yeah, we were talking this morning about a conversation that I had about 17 years ago last week that has haunted me ever since. And at the time, I was working in a black box theater in Manhattan, and we were working to try and get artists and spiritual communities to talk to each other, amongst other things. And I'd found myself in a gathering of colleagues at one point. It's also a student over here at Pacifica at the time. And I was hanging around with some other depth psychologists, and we were chatting and telling each other what we did. And so when I shared this bit about trying to get artistic communities and spiritual communities to talk to each other, one of my colleagues started to cry. And he said, it is so absolutely essential to get the arts and spiritual communities in conversation. And he shared with me that a family member of his, he said, I've just come from the funeral of a family member of mine. And he told me this story about his relative who was a prominent artist in New York City, where I was at the time, and their partner, also a prominent artist in the city. And that partner had taken their life. And this person's relative had stuck around just a little bit longer to help get their partner's affairs in order, and then had walked into the ocean and taken their life as well. And he said, the artist, this is what this gentleman said to me, the artist goes into the unconscious, and they go into the underworld, and they go into the depths to bring back what culture needs, especially in difficult times. But he said they can get lost there, just as all of us can get lost there. And he said years past in traditional cultures, it was the role of the shaman to go into the depths and come back and show the artist how to find their way back, and to show how not to get lost. And he sat there with tears in his eyes, and he said to me, we need shamans again who can help the artists bring culture what they need. And as you know, it's a very significant story for me, because I lost my own brother to suicide just not much long after that. So that is the story. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for reminding us why we're all gathered here and what the whole Gladdening Light impulse is, to really celebrate that intersection of the arts and the life of the soul as being mutually interdependent. I guess that's a little redundant, mutually interdependent, but yeah, necessary for each other. And I think that's why last night, I don't know if you all noticed, I was a little lost up there in that conversation. And I think it's because something in me knows that the old way of trying to solve the seemingly intractable problems, catastrophes of this world, the old ways of trying to figure it out and fix it, don't seem to apply right now. But the way of creativity, the arts, that human response to these vast predicaments are needed now more than ever. So I really appreciated when Michael told me that story this morning about, it's like the missing piece in that configuration is the shamanic piece. And however you define shaman, that person, that I would maybe call that same person a mystic, is the person who doesn't get lost in the depths, who can help who can go down into the depths with us and hold our hand as we make our way back, whether we're artists or activists or anything in between. So thank you for that reframing. So I've had a number of people tell me today that they were a little shaken and destabilized by the conversation last night. My first response is yay. That means we did something right. What was that about comforting the afflicted, no, afflicted and afflicting the uncomfortable? Yeah, yeah. We're the and afflict the comfortable. So it's okay if people like us, meaning some of you and me, who are more artistic and contemplative, and I could talk about John of the Cross and Teresa of Avila and Rumi and Rabia and all day long. Give me a mystical poem, and I can spend the entire day with you, alternating between silence and reading the same line over and over with you. Like, that's my happy place. But it's important for me to be afflicted by the truth of what's going on sometimes. And having said all that, I would like to bring you into a space now again wherein we can reclaim the beauty in the mess. And we can use the teachings of the mystics to help orient us. I'm going to give you a metaphor that's going to be a very familiar metaphor, and we're going to unpack it together to kind of explore our own path of transformation and affirmation of the way things are rather than the way we've been conditioned they're supposed to be. And I want to start with the bookmark prayer of Santa Teresa de Avila. How many people are familiar with the Teresa's bookmark prayer? A few of you, okay. We're going to sit for a few minutes, okay? So we're going to just have a little contemplative practice, but not too long because it's after lunch and your body, all the blood in your brain is going to your belly, so I don't want you to go to sleep quite yet. Although if you need to fall asleep, feel free and sweet dreams. So what we're going to do is I'm going to speak the prayer a couple of times. First in Spanish. For those of you who speak Spanish, I'm not going to use contemporary Castilian Spanish, but the early Renaissance, 16th century Spanish in which Teresa wrote this prayer. So this is a prayer that she didn't publish in her lifetime. It was a prayer that she wrote to console herself. And it was found in her prayer book when she died, written in her own hand. Has anyone been to Avila and seen it? Yeah, they have it under glass. It's beautiful. She had beautiful handwriting. And so it was written probably for her to make it through her own difficult times. And I offer it to you in her mother tongue so that it may comfort you. I will say it in Spanish, and then I will say it in English. And then we'll just sit together in the quiet and reconnect with our breath, with our bodies, with our rootedness to this earth. Start with a deep breath, please. Breathing in deeply, holding the in-breath for a few beats before releasing it completely. And pausing before inhaling again. And another nice deep breath. Feeling your attention pouring into the vessel, the basin of this moment, like sweet water. Nada te turbe, nada te espante, todo se pasa. Dios no se muda. La paciencia todo lo alcanza. Quien Dios tiene, nada le falta. Solo Dios basta. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. Everything passes. God alone is unchanging. With patience, everything is possible. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone is enough. Nada te turbe, nada te turbe, nada te turbe, nada se espante. Todo pasa. Dios no se muda. La paciencia todo lo alcanza. Quien Dios tiene, nada le falta. Solo Dios basta. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. Everything passes. God alone is unchanging. With patience, everything is possible. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone is enough. Amen.